I have my cute kitty blanket for this one, so you know it's gonna be good. So 4 years ago, I was diagnosed with thyroid cancer. If you missed my first video, you can check it out here. But I thought I would just do a quick update and talk a little bit about what I've learned over the last 4 years. So this will not be RPG related. So if this has zero interest to you, go ahead and check out some of my other videos. But if not, I'm gonna talk a little bit about my journey and where I'm at today. Hello, post-filming XP Love Cat here. A bit of information that I forgot to say that I think will be really helpful for the context of this video is my cancer journey timeline. So in March of 2021, I was diagnosed with thyroid cancer. Early April, I had my surgery. Then in the summertime, I had radioactive iodine treatment, which is basically a pill that you take with radioactivity to get rid of any of the thyroid cells that would still be left over. And then in December, by the end of the year in 2021, I was cleared as cancer-free. So of course, like any other cancer, it could come back. So I continue to have checkups, but I just wanted to give that context. And this is a little bit more about my overall processing of that time and what I've learned. So when we go through something traumatic, oftentimes our view of that time changes as we get further away from the event. And for me in particular, looking back on getting diagnosed, I realized how scary that was. But in the moment, it was so survival mode. It was like the doctors had a plan. They were walking me through things. Things were moving very quickly. I had surgery very quickly after I found out I had cancer. And so that reflection of like, oh my gosh, I was in such survival mode that I didn't even get a chance to process what was happening to me became pretty clear like a year and a half after all of this happened. So as a result, I've had to go through a lot of physical and emotional work to process that time and to heal from that time. Physically, it took me a lot longer than I anticipated it would to recover from surgery. They took out 1 thyroid and 89 lymph nodes. And so that was a lot of junk that they took out of my neck and shoulder area. And as a result, they had to cut the muscle here. And so that process of healing from that took a very long time. And I was in and out of physical therapy for about 2 years. In addition to that, I also had to be really good about strength training and like building muscle in my shoulders and back to support my healing. So I will say that I had to work really, really hard to get into a routine of stretching, which is non-negotiable now. Like I have to stretch, otherwise I will have pain in my shoulder. I still have a little bit of pain like on a daily basis, but I've learned how to better manage it through going through physical therapy and doing a ton of strength training. I am the strongest I have ever been. I have a lot more muscle than I have had in all of my life. And so that is a cool thing that came out of it, is learning how to build that muscle and take better care of myself and make sure I'm stretching and feel good in my body. Oh, and also I wanted to mention my scar. So you will see my scar here on the camera, but I'll also put up some progress pictures on the screen to show you that my scar continued to change and heal throughout a pretty long period of time too. My doctors suggested that it's common for once 2 years pass, your scar kind of stays that way, and that's how it will be for your life, and that's how it will look. But I have seen my scar heal in different ways the longer that I get away from the surgery. So yeah, that's just kind of an interesting thing, that if you're dealing with something that is leaving a scar, it could very well continue to heal and change as you grow. And the only other note that I'll say on the physical stuff is I do have dry mouth a lot more frequently now, and I have to chew my food a lot more, which sounds weird, but I have some scar tissue in my throat, and so if I'm not careful, stuff can get stuck. So I just have to be really vigilant about chewing my food and eating a little bit slower, and that's just a daily reality that I've become accustomed to. So that's kind of the physical stuff. On to the emotional side of things. When I was going through the cancer, it was not something that I understood. It was not something I understood how to navigate. It was just me trying my best to make it to each appointment and to keep my spirits as high as I possibly could during that time. So now that I've had a chance to reflect on that event, I realize that it is so much about a cliche wake-up call. Like, I know it's that way in a lot of stories that you hear and books and movies, but it feels very accurate and true, which is probably why it shows up so often. This was an opportunity for me to evaluate my life. It was a way to evaluate, is this me living authentically to who I am? And is it the way that I want to be spending my life going forward? Now that I'm further removed from it, I have this reflection that I'm so aware that so many people who have cancer or have something medical or traumatic that they have to go through, they don't always get a second chance to keep living their life or to change how they're living their life. And so I'm so incredibly grateful for the opportunity to be able to reflect and change and adjust based on this wake-up call. A couple of big things that have come out of this is, one, I changed careers. So I was in corporate working a finance job ever since I graduated. I knew it wasn't a very good fit for me. I was looking for something that I found more enjoyable and fulfilling that I would want to do for 40 plus hours a week. And so now I work full-time for myself. I am a developmental editor and book coach for fiction writers and tabletop role-playing game designers, and I love what I do. It doesn't make as much money as my finance job. I'll be totally transparent about that, but it is more fulfilling for me, and I live every day happier as a result and more of who I am, which is something that I'm also practicing listening to, is figuring out what do I actually want and being brave enough to listen to those wants. I think it's very easy to get into a routine of just doing what you've always done, just doing what feels easy. And sometimes that might be okay. That might be where people are at in their lives, and that's totally cool. For me, I got to the point where I was like, something isn't right and I need to fix it. And this horrible thing happened to me that gave me the opportunity to reevaluate and to fix it. So changing jobs was one of those things. I would also say, in general, taking care of my health, both physically and mentally, slowing down. So I was always very much someone who had a plan that was way too ambitious, and I would do all of the things that I thought I should do to achieve that plan as quickly as possible. And so that led to a lot of burnout feelings and just being so busy that I wasn't actually prioritizing what was meaningful to me. So I will say I absolutely still have those tendencies. Like every week I have to remind myself, and when I'm planning out my week, of not to put too much on my plate and to allow myself to have breaks and to approach things a little bit slower and be okay with slower progress. And so, yeah, that's a big one that I'm still working through, but it's something that kind of came to my attention throughout the work that I've been doing the last 4 years, and the focus being prioritization. Thinking about what is actually the most important thing to me and how do I display that and live that in my daily life. And I definitely want to mention that one of the tools that really helped me throughout this process is something called EMDR therapy. And I will put links in the description if you're interested to learn more about this. But essentially it is a way for you to process memories. So if there are memories that are hot or triggering or anxiety inducing for you, it is a specific tool that you can use with a therapist to help you process those memories and turn the negative associations in those places and get them unstuck in your brain essentially, and make the the anxiety or whatever bad feelings are associated with it, bring it down a notch so it's not so invasive. But then it also gives you tools for future scenarios in which these similar situations might occur. So that's a very basic, non-therapist explanation of what it is. But it is something that I found super helpful throughout the process because it was a little bit more structured than just talk therapy. And I was able to process the grief associated with having cancer. And I was able to process what that impact was. And how I would want to apply it to my life going forward. So this type of therapy was really helpful for me to help process through everything and make sense of it, because I think going through it, I was very confused and just wasn't sure how to feel my emotions. And this type of therapy kind of helped me work through those emotions and have an opportunity to feel them and process them and grieve them and all of the fun stuff that us humans get to go through. So where am I now? At first I had to do every 3 months check-in to make sure that I didn't have the cancer coming back, which was blood work and ultrasounds. Then they reduced it to 6 months, and now I'm at once a year check-ins for this type of blood work, just to make sure that everything is still okay, because there is a chance that the cancer could come back. But I'm 4 years out and I'm feeling healthy, confident, and really happy with the direction my life is going and the changes that I have made and the progress that I have made. I'm just so proud of myself for going through such a terrible, awful thing and keeping hope during it and pushing through it and becoming stronger on the other end. Whew. So yeah, I understand that cancer is a huge, heavy, weighty topic and that not everyone gets happy endings, but I just wanted to put a story out there that is representing the happy endings that some of us do get after going through something like this, so that if you're ever encountering something similar, that you know there are things that you can do to help yourself get through it. If you have any questions about my journey or have specific thyroid cancer questions, I'm happy to answer them in the comments below, or you can email me, which will be in the description. Thank you for supporting me, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you. Bye.